put it on.
So Adrian, is the only thing we need in business, is it stronger leadership?
We do need strong leadership, that's very important, but the research we have done over the last 20 years, and especially recently, we've been able to identify that for an organisation, a company to flourish, they actually need what we call wealth creators. And these people are very interesting people, is that there's very, very few of them. The phrase we had is that they are the yeast in the bread of business. So you only need a tiny bit of yeast to make your bread. And this is what we need, otherwise it's flat. So the same in business, we need those wealth creators in business.
How do we identify, how do you identify them?
We identify them by psychometric assessment, and we're able to look at their intellectual ability, their personality, their values, their attitude to business. And these characteristics tell us whether they fit with this quite rare group of people. And when I say rare, there are 5 in 1,000 of senior management, senior managers and executives. Only 5 in 1,000 are wealth creators.
Why is that relation so low if they're so important for business?
Well, let's use the analogy of football. Why are there so few Messis and Wayne Rooneys and so on? There are just very few of them.
And Zlatan?
Who's he?
He's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's the most famous Swede there is.
Well, yes, but the Swedes aren't very famous, you see. So the interesting thing about this analogy is you don't want just a striker in football. You need a very good goalkeeper, you need a good fullback, you need good wings and so on. But with all of them will do a good defending job and maybe not allow anybody to score a goal against them, but they won't ever score goals, maybe. Maybe every now and then, but very infrequently. Put a striker into the team, you suddenly have a winning team, a team that wins the European Championships and so on, and it works every time. And everybody knows these people. That's the interesting thing. They all know who they are. Now, when we are working in business, we ask people, so who's a wealth creator in your company? They know. And if there's 1 or 2. And literally, what happens is that if a company does not have a wealth creator in the senior management team, it dies. It'll die, maybe gradually, but it's dying. And it never recovers until you have more wealth creators come in. And wealth creators are not easy to manage. Mm-hmm. So they're not always the chief executive. In fact, very often they're not. And so the chief executive may be a very good organizer, a very good businessman, but he needs to be able to spot these wealth creators to give them the space that they need to score the goals for the company.
But how do they encourage and how do they keep up the morale in the company? Because it seems like you take a wealth creator, you need to nourish him or her more than the others.
No, not more, but differently. Mm-hmm. Wealth creators are full of energy. They're always questioning. They're driving for increasing the value of the business every day in a sustainable way. And this is very tiring for everybody around them because they never let up. They're very, very interesting to work with. I've got one client who's 17 billion euro turnover, and they have 2 wealth creators in the whole business. And the 2 of them are the ones that create the wealth in the whole business, and other places it's not going so well. So, but interestingly, they were going to get sacked, right? So, because they weren't very well liked, because they're very pushy, very difficult people to work with. So they need the support of the chief executive and the other main board people who recognise that they've got the Wayne Rooney in there, who may not be somebody you want to have dinner with, but my goodness, without them, you don't score goals.
But are you clear when you identify them in the organisation on the football team that these are the guys that are the wealth creators?
Absolutely clear.
You should be clear so everyone talks about it, and we allow him to be or her to be.
Yeah. You may not call them wealth creators, but you say these are the guys who are driving the business forward. They're very enterprising. They're always looking out. They're not inwardly reorganizing the company every few months. They're not the people who are taking the technology forward necessarily. Some of them do. Some of them are expert wealth creators. So Dyson, for example, who makes the vacuum cleaner, he's an expert wealth creator. He's interested in knowledge and expertise. The corporate wealth creator, perfect example, is Jack Welch. He was somebody who said, how can I reorganize the company? How can I get it to work best together to create wealth in a consistent way? Then you've got the enterpriser, who, funnily enough, it was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was a market-led business guy, wealth creator. Everything he did was, how is it going to be received in the marketplace? And that's what we call an enterpriser. And then you have the extreme wealth creator, which is the entrepreneur, who are very difficult people to live with. And there are very, very few of them in the world.
Can you say an example?
Branson. I mean, everybody, certainly in Europe, just about knows Branson, and in America. And he's not an easy man. Not an easy man to work with, and not an easy man to be in a room with. So, but absolutely fascinating. Duncan Bannatyne, superb guy, absolutely wonderful, but really tough to be with, but really interesting to be with. And if you suddenly realise that they are not the same as the other people, you can start utilising their strengths.
It would be very interesting in our meeting in April to discuss further and get some more information out from you. What is a wealth creator? How do we treat them? And how they add value to the company.
There is one interesting aspect, is that most people would not think finance people are wealth creators. But I know one finance director who is a definite wealth creator. And the main boss is not allowing him to have the room he needs. He's superb, absolutely superb. So what will happen in the end will be he'll leave and go somewhere else where he can be the wealth creator that he should be.
Interesting. Good.